this is what's expected. Preparing for a big launch such as this, I already know that it's a lot of crunch time. It's a lot of long hours. I'm excited though.
The things that we want in life and the things that we're pursuing and our goals and our purpose and we're filling them, it does take work to do that. In the moment when it's happening, it's a lot.
It's a lot to take in during the process. I'm grateful for it. This is what God has prepared me for.
Mm-hmm.
He has told me that this day was going to come. So I'm just living it as we speak. It's a lot. I'm grateful. It didn't happen this way, then I'll be still at my 9 to 5, sitting in my cubicle, thinking like, what if?
You're listening to She's Got Drive podcast, the podcast that inspires women to be the driver in their own life with the life and stories of Black women with drive. And I'm your host, Shirley McAlpine. I'm a business consultant, an executive coach, and a leadership facilitator, working with people and organizations to live their lives by design and not default. Welcome back to another episode of She's Got Drive. Welcome back. So we are now at the end of the first week of December. So there's like 3 and a bit weeks left of the month. I cannot believe that is all we have left of 2019. I am still driving right to the end, in terms of the things I've got to do for 2019. It feels intense. I don't know about you, but it feels really intense for me at the moment. So I'm kind of frantically getting things done, focusing on my work. I've got a trip to London. London is so cool at Christmas time. It's such a wonderful time to be in London. So I'm going to be in London for a few days. Even though I have a few days in London, I am still working on accomplishing my goals. And I've also got my antennae on 2020. If you are still interested in finishing the year strong, if you're still up for that, then I want you to go back to the episode I did about 3 weeks ago called How to Nail Your 2019 Goals. Or was that 4 weeks ago? Anyway, How to Nail Your 2019 Goals. If you are done with 2019 goals, you're like, I am done with that. I have nailed those. Thank you very much, Shirley. I did a great job on those things. Or I'm thrown in the towel. I've done what I've done, and I'm not going to keep at it to the end. If you're in that place and you're starting to get your sight on 2020, then can I remind you to go back to last week's episode? Because in last week's episode, I did a whole episode on reviewing 2019 and really the importance of doing this work before you even think about writing a goal for 2020. Stop, take a pause, and reflect on what happened in 2019 and what were the lessons learned. And remember, at the end of that episode, you also could download a free PDF which walks you through the questions that I give you that I'm going to be using with other people on reviewing 2019 that sets you up so well for 2020. So before 2020 goals comes, this was the last week's episode. And if you want the free PDF download with all the questions for you to use, then go to shirleymccalpine.com/review 2019. That's shirleymccalpine.com/review 2019. If you are someone who's already reviewed 2019 and you are like, Shirley, I want to start working on 2020 goals, then I'm going to be coming out with some gems around that too. However, you could always go to the Goalkeeper download that I was giving out earlier this year, and you go to shirleymccalpine.com/goalkeeper. shirleymccalpine.com/goalkeeper, and you can download that. I will put both of those links in the show notes so that you can get your free PDF. so you can be finishing strong and creating powerfully. Finishing strong, creating powerfully. Okay, so I wanted to remind you of that. I am totally doing all of that, plus like really going for it and getting into the Christmas spirit, because this week was the first Christmas concert at my daughter's school. And so once you've started to do that, my kids are playing Christmas music all over the place, in the car, in their room, when we're cooking, you name it, it's all over. My daughter's making Christmas decorations. It's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas. And even though it feels quite early, here we are. Anyhow, now I want to start talking about my guest this week, Natasha. If you've been following me for a while, or if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, one thing you will know about me is that I'm really interested in how people find their purpose and are living their purpose. I'm really interested in what it takes to live your purpose, or how do you move from the life that you have to having your life reflect that which you believe you are here to do. And one of the reasons why I'm so interested in this and fascinated in this is, one, because I'm committed that people live a life that they want to live versus the life that they have. And there may be nothing wrong with the life that you have, but it's the life they want to live. I'm committed to that people are clear about their purpose and then live out their purpose as well. And so helping people do that is part of what I do. And so I'm really interested when I discover women, Black women, who are living their purpose. And I'm curious about how they got there. How did they move from where they were to feeling this alignment with how they're living their life and what they're accomplishing in their life? And so when I met Natasha and I had an initial conversation with Natasha, that's one of the things that fascinated me. And you're going to be fascinated with that too, because it's a very powerful story of what it has taken and what it is taking from her and how she is living out her purpose today. And through her relationship with God. And so I think you're going to find this a very powerful and moving conversation. I got moved at the end of it. I really did. And you'll hear why. But I love that she is really in conversation with God on a regular basis in a way that you hear her relationship and how that is guiding her is really where I get so interested and really joyful for her that this is what's showing up for her in her life. So Natasha was born and raised in Brooklyn to Trinidadian father and a Jamaican mother. She's been influenced by both cultures and embedded in this idea that nothing in life comes easy. However, having the honor to be nurtured in a loving and hardworking family cultivated her into the businesswoman that she is today. She learned early on that you must pursue your dreams in order to turn them into a reality. With that, she needed faith and passion to see her through. This allowed her to accept the will of God's plan for her life. From becoming an FIT alumni to a runway commercial print model, and then a CEO and founder of a faith-based lifestyle brand named Tashee, she strives to empower, teach, and motivate people through her brand. Natasha, thank you so much for being willing to be a guest on She's Got Drive.
Oh, thank you so much, Shirley, for having me. I'm just blessed to be here and to speak to you about everything. So thank you.
Well, we met at Harlem Fashion Row, and how we met was you looked amazing, and so I said that, and then you were very striking, and we stopped and we had a little kind of conversation. So, your story is such a powerful story about how you are pursuing something that really is you've been called to do, and fulfilling like your purpose, really something that's really integral to who you are is kind of how I would say it in terms of this what you've talked about as we've had previous conversations. So I want you to share with my listeners, what is it that you're doing and how you came to do what you're doing?
Okay. Oh my gosh. This is a long story, but it's very fulfilling at the same time. But I am the CEO and founder of a faith-based lifestyle brand called Tashee Inc. And Tashee is now a parent company, but it started as a clothing line about 4 years ago that promotes modesty in fashion and also ministers the gospel of Jesus Christ. So I came to this calling due to my conviction of immodesty while I was a model. And so after I graduated from FIT, I just wanted to pursue my modeling career. I'm like, look, I'm still young. So let me just start on this modeling career. And I was doing that for like about 4 to 5 years and professionally. And during the peak of my career, I just felt a sense of emptiness inside of me. And I always had a relationship with God, but I guess like while I was modeling, I never really lived that straight and narrow path. So I was like what most people in the Christian faith will say, you're in and out of the world. So I was in and out of the world, praising God, but still doing other things. And so I was just, I had to pray to God about the feeling that I was feeling of emptiness. And he was just like ministering and stewarding over my soul. And as I grew closer to God, I just felt a need to like strip away certain things about myself. I just felt very not pure, very impure. So I just started to strip away certain things. And one of those things was covering up myself and just acting a certain way. And in the modeling industry, it's hard to do that, because you're dealing with certain clients, who wants you to wear certain things. And, as I was growing with Christ, I just felt like, look, I'm not going to compromise anymore. So let me just tell my agency how I feel. And if they let me go, they let me go. But when I spoke to my agent, she was very understanding. And she tried to book me get jobs that wouldn't compromise what I believe in.
Right.
But it wasn't as it was before. It was a little different. But she was trying her best to accommodate me and my beliefs. But God, he wanted me to do more than just modeling. So, right after I just felt that conviction, I just had an epiphany that I needed to go back into the fashion industry and just start my career in that field. So just out of nowhere, which this is all God, because out of nowhere, I'm not even looking for a job, mind you, right? So out of nowhere, I got a call from a recruiter asking me if I'm interested in an opportunity to work for this big fashion corporation in marketing. I'm like, wait, like I never, ever had held a corporate job in my life after I graduated FIT. I mean, I was an assistant wardrobe stylist for a company, but that's totally different, So I'm just like, I don't have any experience in marketing. And this recruiter who had this just happened to have my contact information when she had visited FIT while I was there.
Right.
So this was years after. So she called me and I'm just like, okay, this is all God. I just felt the need to go back into the fashion industry. So I'm going to take this opportunity. Right. So while I was working at this job in marketing, first time in corporate.
So then, hold on, she approaches you and then you actually then get the job.
No, I got the job. Yeah, I went to the,
okay.
Yeah, she called me. She had my contact information and she called me about this opportunity to work in marketing as a sample coordinator for this big corporation.
Right.
To me, like, I look at signs and that was a big sign for me. Like, this is what I need to do. So, the interview went well and I got the job, started working. And while I was working there and growing in my relationship with God, that is when I had another epiphany that I needed to start a clothing line that promotes modesty and fashion, and also ministering through my clothing line as well about the Christian faith, right? And I had to really had a one-on-one conversation with God, because I'm like, how in the world am I going to minister the gospel of Jesus Christ through my clothing line unless I do T-shirts with quotes on it or scriptures? And I'm like, God, women's wear clothing. So I don't know how that's going to work, because, I like making clothes. And God is just like, look, let me just show you. All right. So he sent me 3 confirmations. I kid you not. The next day I'm in the kitchen and I turn on the TV and the 700 Club show came on, and they were interviewing an ex-Victoria's Secret model named Kylie Busudi. And she spoke about leaving her modeling career to pursue her Christian clothing line. And I'm like, this is crazy. This is the second confirmation from God. Oh my gosh. All right. I see you, God. I see what you're doing.
Right.
Literally that same day, as I'm riding to work, I got a message from one of my former coworkers just thanking me for my faith in God and how inspired that she was with the things that I've told her about my faith and about God, which had helped her to get involved in this church and become a member, baptized, everything. So when I read this message, I just started crying, because this was her testimony that she was sharing with me. And I'm like, okay, God, now I see the ministry aspect of this. And I was like, okay, yes, I'm going to answer the call. I'm going to do this thing. And I did. So I was, still at my 9 to 5, working, just working to start Tashee, what have you. But I had to leave the 9 to 5 to really start it, to really launch it. So I felt that I needed to make a few pieces to showcase, right? And I wanted to gift those pieces to my best friend and my cousin during Christmas time. And around that time, that's when neoprene was like really like just trending. A lot of people want to do neoprene skirts, neoprene dresses. So I was like, let me just make this neoprene skirt for them. So while I was working on it, I just felt from my spirit like, okay, Natasha, you can make this into a cape as well. And I'm like, what? A skirt and a cape? A transitional piece? I was like, all right, let me just see how this goes. So I did, I made the zipper like an open zipper, and I gifted them this item on Christmas Day. And I was like, look, I think I need to record this. So I recorded their reaction and uploaded it on my Instagram page. And I'm telling you, a lot of people were just amazed by this transitional piece. I got so many DMs asking, how they can order. So that's how Tashee really started.
Wow.
And yeah, like I was like, okay, this is a start or something. So that's how Tashee really started. And that next year I did a small capsule collection just to launch everything. Just to, really promote the brand. I worked on the e-commerce website, and I launched everything within the next year. And, just working on Tashee and actually going back in the fashion industry to freelance for different companies to learn more about the industry. And, I was working in merchandising and buying. just to get that
Yeah.
business aspect of things. And Tashee kept growing at the same time, and I kept growing spiritually at the same time too, because it was a journey. Just handling a Christian clothing line, and working on myself to making sure that whenever God really brings me out there in the forefront, that I'm ready to handle whatever comes with it. This year, I do not work another corporate job. I'm just working solely on Tashee, and I'm launching my new collection, Redemption. And Redemption is the first collection of my new clothing line that I'm presenting, called Natasha. So, yeah.
It's so...
That's pretty much...
Yeah, there's so much in here, because I love how you... One is your constant conversation that you're having with God, right? And I love also how you follow. Like there's an insight or a message that you receive the message and you follow that. You kind of trust that, and you then are responding to the signs, responding to the things that are in front of you, the opportunities that present themselves to you, and you're like, oh. Yeah. And then that kind of has allowed for other things to open up.
I had to go back in the industry to freelance for different corporations because I needed that experience.
Yeah.
And the last job I was in, it was for 3 years at this another big corporation, and I was doing buying and merchandising. The funny thing about that story, I was let go in February, and that was the same month that I released a movie that I created about my last collection called Warrior. It was a very impactful movie as well. It was, like I said, it was a story about my last collection, Warrior, which is about overcoming spiritual warfare through prayer and faith in God.
How has that impacted the growth of Tashee this year? Redemption. Share with us what redemption means to you and why you've called it redemption. And then give us a sense of what, because I know that some people might go, what is modest kind of fashion look like, and because people may assume that it's kind of, may have lots of assumptions about that, but yeah, so let's share with us what in your respect, in terms of your line, what does it mean?
Okay. Well, first I'm going to answer your question with the Warrior. So Warrior, it was about overcoming spiritual warfare through faith in God, and Redemption is a sequel of Warrior.
Okay.
And that is like, now you've been redeemed. Now you are walking in that victory. So Warrior is the sequel of Warrior. Redemption is a sequel of Warrior.
Okay.
So you won the war, and you are fully confident in your walk now, and nothing can't stop you.
Right.
So you're walking in that victory. You have been redeemed, and you're taking back whatever the enemy has stole from you. And the enemy is the devil. So you're taking those things back, and you're walking in that victory. So that's what redemption is all about. And that's what I'm going to convey December 7th with showcasing that. Modesty, to me, on how Tashee translates modesty through our brand, it's about being not just only covering up, but it's about being fulfilled and being one with yourself, one with God. Once you're one with God, once you have that fulfillment, you want to be more like him. So modesty, to me, it's more than just covering up. It's an internal thing.
Okay.
And first, because once you have that internally, it's going to exude externally. So that's first and foremost what modesty means to me. And Tashee, we offer pants, dresses, but they're all trendy. You get what I'm saying? Yes. So it's nothing for me, I'm a very innovative and creative person. So, and that's a part of the gift that God has given me. I don't feel like my pieces are, in a sense, like too extravagant. I feel like if we are God's children, if we are royalty, we have to look and present ourselves like that.
Right.
Am I correct?
Yes.
All right. So for me, I just like anytime like I design something, I just think about like, okay, I am royalty. My consumers are royalty. So I'm going to make something that's what I feel like it's going to represent that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my pieces, they're very trendy. Some people wouldn't even know, like just by looking at it, that this stems from a Christian clothing line. But for the most part, everything is just fully covered. Everything.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
full coverage. You know, I guess because it's so trendy and people have this idea that modesty, you know, is just like you know, for certain people, Amish or you know, it's like for older women in the churches with the big old hats.
Right.
And I'm like, no, you can be modest in your own right, you know, like without even dressing like that.
Right.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just, you know, people have a certain stigma about modesty, and I'm here to show them that that's not how it goes. You know, you can still look trendy and still be modest at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And trendy in a sense where it's like, you can still incorporate your personality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stylish. Yeah. You can still incorporate your character and your personality within, you know, covering up at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so it has these beautiful kind of lines. It has unusual cuts in your clothing. And what you were wearing, you had this cool jumpsuit on when I met you at Harlem Fashion Row. So there's like breaking the misconceptions about what it means. And then also like it gives it more reach in terms of the kind of multiple generations who could wear your brand too. This is what I can hear in that. Exactly. Yeah.
My family they're very supportive. They're, you know, I'm telling you, like without them, there will be no Tashee, because they were my first investors.
Yeah, so that's so important, isn't it? Like having that kind of support in the. You said, well, the skirt was also for your cousin.
Yeah, and my best friend.
And your best friend, right?
Yeah.
So, and then their reaction and that kind of catapulted Tashee to a whole new level. How does your faith influence how you're running your business as well? You know, so I can see it in the designs, I can see it in like your approach and being informed by what's next for you, you know, like, so listening and being informed by that. Yeah. How does it influence how you're running your business and how you're doing business? Because the fashion industry has got its own way of working.
No.
So how's that, you know, help us understand how that's, you know, what you're doing.
I can't wait to share this. I can't wait to share this with you. Okay. So first, all right. So I told you that I left my 9-to-5, right?
Mm-hmm.
This year for good. And ever since then, I just felt the need that I needed to now have my own place to do business. Because before then I was working in my parents' basement straight through for 4 years. Right. So God just told me, like, Natasha, you need a bigger space. And I felt that I needed a bigger team because I was a one-man show. And in August, I moved into this studio space that I'm in right now. And now I have expanded my team. Yes. I have about like 7 people.
Wow.
In my company as we speak. And what we do each morning, we do a corporate prayer each morning. And we, for my interns, I do spiritual lessons with them every week as a part of their internship program.
Okay.
So I make sure that I incorporate the faith aspect through that, because I feel like, you know, they need to grow spiritually as well. Also, before any meeting, we always pray. And like I make sure that I incorporate that in my brand very firmly. You know, we are very explicit that this is a Christian-based company. And so with my employees, We have TVs. I talk to them one-on-one, talk to them personally, pray for them, whatever. And we offer prayer requests through our email, our administrative email, info@tasheeinc.com, to the employees and consumers, what have you. So we make sure that we do that straight through our brand. Like it's like, this is the first thing that you will get from Tashee.
Right.
And that's what really sets us apart from the fashion, for the other companies in the fashion industry. We are very explicit about the faith. We're very explicit about prayer and spiritual development. That's how Tashee incorporates the faith.
Yeah. So you are you really are integrating it. It's the part of who you are. It's the fabric of who you are as an organization. Yes. I'm also struck by how you move from you being not just one person to 7 people. And that's I know, quite a really big growth. What gave you the courage to take that step versus a more gradual increase? Because that's that transition point for entrepreneurs is a critical one, and some people don't take the leap, and then you can limit growth because there's only so much that you can do, and then some people so help us tell me where that came from.
Surely it is walking by faith and not by sight. I'm telling you that right now. And that's on my wall.
Walking by faith and not by sight.
2 Corinthians 5:7. Walking by faith and not by sight. So God had showed me the vision of the redemption, the Redemption Collections launch. So I knew it was a big vision. And I already knew that I couldn't do this by myself.
Okay.
And that's when, he just kept providing. Like, this didn't happen out of nowhere, because God was telling me through my spirit that, all right, you need this person, you need that person, you need that person. And he was just giving me visions too. So I was like, okay, I need some people in marketing. I need a project manager. I need a PR manager. I need interns. I need a seamstress. I need a technical designer, because I am going to be doing other things within my brand. So I know I can't sew all the time. I have to hire somebody to sew for me.
Right.
Because I can do it, but I already knew the other things, the other deliverables that I had. I was like, there's no way I can make a 23 look collection with me doing other things and managing other people. So I had to hire a seamstress and a technical designer. And this all happened with God just providing. He was just sending me these people. Okay. People that I just knew I had a conversation with, and then just end up running into them. I'm like, hey, look, I'm launching this collection. I remember you told me you wanted to work with me. Can you help me? Can you come on board? They came on board. Or, referrals, my project manager who had referred a seamstress, and, and my design intern, all these things just happen within tandem. But to other people, it probably can be seen as, very fast. But to God, this was on time, and the people that are in this company, they are the right fit. I'm telling you, they are the right fit. I couldn't see anyone else in these positions. And they were so, 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 so helpful. I couldn't ask for anything.
You've got a dream team, it sounds like. And I love that I love how you say, for some people it may seem fast, but I forgot it was it's right on time. When it's supposed to be happening, then it's neither late or early. It's just so. The thing is that your faith has got you to where you are right now too. So then you stand in that place, and then you trust that it's going to turn out the way you intend it to turn out, because you're standing in that in a very strong place of faith and integrity. What one of the questions that I always ask my guests is, what's one of their most courageous moments? in their life so far. And it could be something that, like a courageous act that you've taken on behalf of yourself, or it could be something you took on behalf of another.
It's a lot of courageous moments. Trying to think. I think this is a courageous moment. I think with me, I'm going to be very transparent with you. I have to be, because this is a part of my testimony. I'm still living through this testimony. This is a part of my courageous moment, starting, like, launching this thing, right? And with an investment of just 30 through, again, my parents, with starting this thing. But this project, this whole thing is more than 30. This is like I'll say like a 80, 100K. And not knowing how the other money was going to come in, that's really walking blindly. And that's I'm telling you, that is the most courageous I've ever been, because I had to take a leap of faith. I didn't know, and I'm handling all these things. I'm managing people. I'm responsible for people. And I'm like, well, this 30K had helped me to, like, launch and, like, you know, get the studio and get this everything and, you know, paying people and stuff like that. But now, and making the clothes too, because we do in-house and out-house work. So we have a out-house production with an amazing factory as well. But I'm like, how in the world am I going to do this redemption experience, this campaign, if I don't see the money or the funds right now? How in the world, not even that, like, if it's not enough to even produce this. And God showed up, and he showed up last week. And that's something that I think I'm gonna have to definitely make a separate video to really share that testimony, because I had a miracle that happened to me last week, and God told me something was going to happen, but I couldn't see a way on how it was going to happen. And it did happen, but it didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen. Right. Yeah. He still showed up and still provided. And just like with this experience, he still is showing up, and he still is going to provide. It may not be exactly how I want it to be, but it's how God wants it to be. And I feel like that is the most courageous I've ever been, because this experience fully stripped me down to a point where I had to let go. I had a problem with, wanting to be in control of everything, and I couldn't be in control of these situations. I really had to trust in God to, like, look, you got to show up now. Like, like, this is like, it's about to be like, like 2 weeks, a week, like, and God is just like, look, I got this. Like, I wouldn't bring you this far. I wasn't going to provide. And I had to be courageous to think like that. I had to be. And that's when he showed up more than I can ever imagine. And I just can't wait to see how this is going to unveil this experience. Because I'm like, this has been the most courageous I've ever been in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's, and you're so as you're in it in the moment as well now, the full lessons of it is not going to be fully present to you, but what's consistent is you responding to that conversation that you have with God, which it's really kind of like shifting for me that kind of the notion of prayer to a dialogue with God.
Yeah.
You're in constant dialogue.
Yes, constant. I have to be. He is the CEO and founder of Tashee. Okay, so I'm like, look, you have to let me know what's the next move.
Yeah.
So I have to. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so wonderful. If you look back at in the last few years, 5-6 years, and you had to speak to a younger version of yourself, and you had to tell Natasha 3 things, what would you tell her?
I would first tell her, don't give up. Number two is going to be okay. And number three, always stand strong in your faith and never waver. That's what I would tell her. Yeah. Because these are the three things that I had to tell myself now. Like, don't give up. It's going to be okay. Like, you're not going to die. You know, like,
yeah,
it may, you know, it may be tough to go through the process. The process is definitely not easy, but do not give up. And then, you know, just don't waver on your faith. Don't feel like, you know, when you're going through the process that God has left you, or, you know, he can never leave you, but just don't feel like you're alone, because even when you go through these things, God is always present. So that's what I will say.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the feeling of, I love the notion of always being accompanied. You know, there's been times when I think it's really, and that really moves me actually. I think it's really there are times when we don't know we're being accompanied, you know?
Yeah,
we're like,
it is.
Am I on my own in this? Or you feel like it's been abandoned. And then there are times when it feels very strong that, no, it's right here. Someone is right here being held. And then in the being, in that feeling of being held, or the feeling of being accompanied, that then strength that you can galvanize the strength to take the next step, whatever the next step is, even in really challenging and difficult circumstances. Yeah. Yeah, that's very powerful.
Yeah, and thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a powerful journey.
Yeah. Well, look, we're coming near the end of our time. I thank you for sharing your journey so powerfully, and the strength of your faith, and how that's connected to your daily actions and what you're doing and what you're giving to the world, you know, through your work, through your designs. And good luck and all the best with your launch of your new collection.
Thank you.
I'm going to and
you know,
so tell us when is it? Tell us when it. Tell the listeners when is it? Where is it going to be? And when's the launch? When is it coming out? Actually, I think this episode will come out on the day of the launch. So, but tell us where it is.
So it's gonna. Okay, I can't wait. All right, so it's December 7th, and it's going to. We're going to launch the collection in Brooklyn, but the online viewers will have a chance to watch it live. So I can give you the website link. It is www.theredemptionexperience.com, and they can view it live. We're going to go live probably around 8:00 p.m. And they can view the whole collection through that website.
Okay, so
they're going to have interactive experience.
So I'm going to. That's all that. I'll put that link in the show notes as well, so they can just click the link to go through.
Yes.
And so this is the 7th. This is going to come out on the Friday, so it gives people time. And if they're in Brooklyn, can they show up to the launch, or is it tickets only? How does that work?
Well, it's a private event.
Okay.
So it's invite only. Okay. It's invite only, but they do have a chance to watch it live.
Online. Okay.
With everyone. Yes.
Excellent. So,
but it's invite.
Yes. So then click the link, watch it live on the 7th of December. And the link is going to be in the show notes. I wish you all the best with this launch and with the growth of Tashee. And you have taken it to a different level this year, you know. So, you know, what did you say? Walking in faith and not on insight.
Walking by faith and not by sight.
Walking by faith and not by sight.
By sight. Yes. 2 Corinthians 5:7.
Okay, I'm going to remember that.
Yes.
Walking by faith and not by sight.
Yeah, and
a bit of that.
Yes, amen. And I just want to tell you thank you so much, Shirley. I just pray over your life, and I just pray for nothing but abundance. And I'm just happy to see what you're doing with your calling, your podcast. And I just pray that God continues to expand your territory. You are such an amazing, blessed person. And I just pray for nothing but God's grace over your life and your family's life as well.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
That's great. I hope that you've been inspired to shift gears in your own life. Well, I really loved, as you know, I love this interview, and the thing that has really had me reflect since I interviewed Natasha was that notion of being in dialogue with God so constantly, and then being guided, the experience of being accompanied, the checking in regularly with God, and whether it's for you, it's God or a higher being or the universe. Like, I relate to my relationship as there is a higher being. Not everyone has that, I understand, but that's where I sit. And I don't often talk about that, but Natasha's ability to connect and be in conversation and then make her choices out of those conversations that she's having is so powerful and was very moving for me. And so I really appreciate Natasha sharing her story. As she says, she is walking by faith and not by sight, and she truly is demonstrating that. And I just got a lot from it, and it has been sitting with me since we had the conversation. So thank you, Natasha. And what it prompted actually was I picked up Donald Neil Walsh's book, A Conversations with God, which I've had for years, and I picked it up, and I'm gonna start reading it again. Yeah, that's what it started to elicit for me. So I'm curious, what has it elicited for you? You know, what's your response to the conversation that we had with Natasha? And obviously at this stage, remember, you can go online tomorrow, and the launch of her collection happens tomorrow. You can go online and watch it live around, I think it's 7 or 8 o'clock Eastern time. So if you're interested in fashion, interested in finding out about her clothing line, then do watch Redemption and see what her show. And so thank you, Natasha. Thank you, everyone who's listening. I appreciate you. I cannot tell you what it means to me when you're in contact with me and you're sending me messages and you tell me the impact that I'm having on you. It helps me and keeps me determined to keep bringing you these amazing guests. And there's lots of other things down the pike in 2020. So please continue to be in contact. You can DM me at Shirley McAlpine on my Instagram account. You can message me from my website, ShirleyMcAlpine.com, or you can go to the Facebook page, Shirley McAlpine. No, it's not. It's She's Got Drive podcast Facebook page. The other thing I want to say is I am starting to go live on Facebook, and I'm doing Facebook Live, so look out for the ads. Sometimes, most of the time, it's going to be on a Tuesday, but there are times when I'm facilitating during the day, and it's midday, and so I can't do it. There will be another day that I will go live that week, so look out for the ads on that. Thank you so much for listening. But before, I want to acknowledge Cassandra is my producer, so thank you, Cassandra, for producing She's Got Drive. And the music is by the awesome all-female band Blonde. The song is called Circles. Until next time, go well and stay well.